Well, it's been a couple of weeks, and as I promised during the NFL season, at least every 2 weeks or so, I was going to come on here and give you an updated 2017 NFL mock draft because it's always draft season. So here I am, week 3 of the NFL season's in the books. It's time for an updated 2017 NFL mock draft as promised. It's just a one-round edition. In the description box down below, you can check out all 32 picks. Hopefully, you actually listen to some of the things that I say about it before you just comment and opine upon it to maybe understand the philosophy. Number one, when it comes to the draft order, it is only week 3. I'm basing it off of win-loss records, the teams at 0-3, who's the worst out of those teams, who's maybe the best out of those teams, and does it really matter at that point in time, so on and so forth. So don't pay too much attention to the damn draft order. I'll probably continue to repeat this for the next several damn weeks. Also, in the interest of full disclosure, I have watched all of these prospects, but I haven't watched them very much. So a lot of this right now is not me saying where I think they will go or where I think they should go. It's just kind of me putting names out there to bring to your attention, to the light, if you will, and nothing more than that. I haven't even begun the process of starting to actually evaluate these players, actually grading these players, just casual observations of these guys. So some of the names that you don't see on here, could they be there in 2 weeks, in a month and a half, as I actually start to watch prospects and start to grade them and evaluate them? Absolutely. This is going to be very fluid. It's always a very fluid process, and I'm just warning you ahead of time. So let's talk about this particular mock draft. The first thing that probably stands out to you is the fact that Myles Garrett is going number 1 overall to the Cleveland Browns. Why would that be? Well, if they didn't love Carson Wentz, who are they actually going to want to be their quarterback? If they can't see the shining light coming down from the heavens upon them that says, this guy here rocking his Air Moses 2.0 sandals is the dude, is the franchise, is the future, is the guy that can finally take that organization and deliver it from the doldrums of being the skid marks of the National Football League and making the Cleveland Browns somebody, making them maybe someday a contender, then I don't necessarily see where they're going to do that this year. Let's face it, the Cleveland Browns would be the type of team that would lose all 16 games, get the number 1 overall pick, and then spend the number 1 overall pick on a defensive end because they believe in Cody Kessler. I mean, that's the Browns. So there's really not much more I have to put in here in terms of logic. And I'm not here to knock Myles Garrett or say that he's not a really nice prospect. But the fact is the Cleveland Browns are in a situation where they would need a quarterback here. If there was even one that was worth taking at this position, it must be the guy. So the Cleveland Browns, with their busted-ass, broke-ass fucking analytics, will take the defensive end here. Which means my Chicago Bears at number 2 get a quarterback. Now, hopefully, mercifully, after 8 years, the Jay Cutler experiment will finally come to an end at the end of 2016. A Bears fan like me can only hope. And then the organization's rebuild can actually really truly begin. Because all this talk about the Bears rebuilding, as long as Cutler's there, it's all foreplay. It's all a tease, and it's all a giant waste of time. And that is not to blame Jay Cutler solely, but it is a part of the problem. It is a major part of the problem, and you cannot rebuild an entire team around a quarterback getting ready to enter his mid-30s who has been the same exact dude as he was when he came out of Vanderbilt all those freaking years ago. You just can't do it. He's the same dude that he was 10 years ago coming out of Vandy. He hasn't gotten any better. He always is what he is. He's a Jeff George type of guy. Now with DeShone Kizer, I think right now he's the leader in the clubhouse in terms of the quarterback that's most likely to be the first quarterback taken in this draft. It doesn't mean that it ends up that way. Fairly or not, some front offices might look at losses to Texas and Duke and question him in some ways. I don't know that that's fair, but there are other things to question about his game. My early observations of him is that he can make some spectacular throws. He does have the arm for the NFL level, but his accuracy can be really wanting and really, really lacking sometimes. And when I look at the 3 quarterbacks that most often end up being associated with being first-round picks, that's DeShone Kizer, Brad Kaaya, and Deshaun Watson. All 3 of these as prospects right now to me have fleas. They have big fleas. DeShone Kizer, it's accuracy. Brad Kaaya, it's arm strength. Deshaun Watson, it's decision-making and arm strength. And I don't know if any of these dudes, at least at this moment when I look at it, have the stuff. Now, in a couple of months, I could be coming on here, and I've watched enough to be convinced that one of these guys is the guy, and I could be begging and pleading and moaning for the Bears to do whatever it takes to take that guy. But for the time being, early observations. A couple of these guys probably going around one, but I don't know if any of them has that dude factor. I don't know that they do at this particular moment. You'll see I've got Kaaya going 6 to San Francisco. Some of you may be surprised I've got Watson dropping all the way to 22. I think there could be questions about his size, questions about his arm strength, some questions about his decision-making. Early on in his season, he hasn't looked very good. He got a little bit better the last week or two. The upcoming game against Louisville, when he's facing off against Lamar Jackson, that will tell a lot about Deshaun Watson and where he is on his path towards becoming an NFL starting quarterback. But right now, you could always say that there are quarterback-needy teams and quarterback-desperate teams and all of that. But I wouldn't be surprised if a guy like Deshaun Watson did drop down the board a little bit. I mean, keep in mind, for those that are going to question me or clown on me and talk shit about it, when a lot of the NFL and draft media was talking about Christian Hackenberg and Cardale Jones and Connor Cook, I'm talking about Jared Goff and Carson Wentz and Paxton Lynch. Just saying. But again, very early on in the process. When I look at this draft, some of the things that stand out to me, you've got two marquee names at safety right now in Jabrill Peppers and Jamal Adams. I think some teams will prefer Adams. Some other teams will prefer Jabrill Peppers. I've seen a recent comparison. I think it was on NFL.com. They were talking about how Peppers reminds them of a bigger, more physical Tyrann Mathieu. There's some truth to that. I don't know if it's a perfect comparison, but I could see where they're going with this. It's just going to be a matter of who fits what system better as in terms of maybe which guy ends up going first. The running back class has been talked about and will continue to be talked about as very strong this year, and it's still shaping up to be very, very strong. Now, right now, I've got Leonard Fournette going number 8 to Washington because for some reason they just don't utilize Matt Jones enough. Maybe it's because they don't believe in him. Maybe he's just not good enough for them to believe in him. But for the Redskins, you're sitting here at pick 8. The defensive talent that's on the board, I don't know if it's really a franchise changer. And Leonard Fournette could potentially be a franchise changer for them, especially if they decide not to go with Kirk Cousins long-term, or even if they do and they pay him big money. You need to get some balance on offense. You need to get some type of a running game and a consistent approach to the running game going. With that said, I would not be surprised if Dalvin Cook ends up ultimately being the first running back drafted in 2016. While Fournette's got the big monster 6 foot, 230 pound or so frame, and he's got decent speed for his size and runs with incredible power, Dalvin Cook provides more offensive versatility, and he can do more things out of the backfield as a runner. He can run out of the spread. He can be an effective pass catcher, a more effective pass catcher than Fournette. He's definitely a more explosive player in terms of quickness and speed. And I think some teams, if not the majority of NFL teams, might value Dalvin Cook a little bit more than Leonard Fournette. They're going to look at him and maybe see some Jamal Charles type of player and value him more than a Leonard Fournette. Right now, you would say Fournette would be the back most likely to go first. But I wouldn't be surprised when all is said and done, if barring an injury or anything catastrophic happening, if Dalvin Cook wasn't the first running back taken in 2017. Christian McCaffrey and Royce Freeman are the other two running backs I have going in round 1. This is probably going to vacillate back and forth between me only having 3 running backs going to 4 to 5, somewhere in that range. Perine from Oklahoma is another guy that could fit into this mix. Nick Chubb, from a pure talent standpoint, is definitely a first-round talent, but it seems like he can't stay healthy, which is a concern, which makes you really want to hesitate spending a first-round pick on him, especially because he is a running back. Christian McCaffrey, I've got going 30 to Philadelphia. And to me, he just seems like he would be a perfect fit for what they want to do on the offensive side of the ball, a kind of Swiss Army knife type of player that they can utilize all over the place. Royce Freeman would be that big physical between the tackles runner with some surprising speed that I think Ozzie Newsome would really want in that backfield to help out Joe Flacco at the tail end of his career. A strong representation here for Alabama in this draft class. You'll see other mocks that have other guys like Tim Williams and Eddie Jackson potentially going in round 1, and potentially they could as well. You're going to hear Alabama's name called early and often on day 1 of 2017's draft with Jonathan Allen and Marlon Humphrey and Cam Robinson, Reuben Foster, who might be the best Crimson Tide player out of all of them. You're going to hear Bama names early and often. And how ironic is it even in this mock draft, talk about the SEC, that Les Miles just got canned, but I've got 2 of his players going in the top 12 of this draft. A good class of defensive backs, especially in round 1. I think there's talent there. I think there's value there. Really weak in terms of offensive linemen. I think the linebacker position is a little bit stronger at the top than it has been in recent years. Edge rushers, it's kind of a so-so class. Right now, like I said, it's very, very early on. So I don't want to formulate too many early biases or too many early opinions, because a lot of this is subject to change. And for Christ's sakes, we've still got, probably 3/4 of the college football season or 2/3 of the college football season still to go. So a lot of things can change and a lot of stocks can fall up or down. But it'll be fun to keep tabs on this on the next several weeks and several months. And I'll be back in a couple of weeks with another mock draft video. So check it out then and let me know what you think of this mock draft in the comments section below.